Today I want to talk to you about creative problem solving versus the sucker's choice. When I was a parent, I was constantly faced with a sucker's choice. Raising children just makes that a definite possibility. And I want to illustrate what that is by telling you about a situation my daughter faced when she had her fourth child. She suffered from severe postpartum depression, and one of the things that she needed to do in order to feel better and to manage that difficult time was to take sustained walks. Now, she had four children, aged 2 months to 6 years old. How well do you think that whole sustained walk thing went? So I want to share with you an example of a walk that I took with those same children about that time. The first thing is Mary and Jack took off running, and I thought to myself, this is going to be a really fast walk. And then about 5 houses down, we hit our neighbor's ramp for his wife's wheelchair. We had to go up the ramp, down the ramp, up the ramp, down the ramp. We had to hide under the ramp. We had to roll down the ramp. It's a good thing that these people are good friends. And a few houses from there was their cement retaining wall. Everyone had to climb up on the wall, walk across the wall without falling off, and if they did fall off, they just had to start over. And how many times do you think the 2-year-old had to start over? And then there were the dogs. Every single dog had to be talked to, and if it was friendly, it had to be petted. I never knew there were so many dogs in our neighborhood. I bet we had to pet at least 20. And then there were the treasures. One of the things we do when we walk is we look for treasures. Brown stones, orange leaves, flowers, weeds, sticks, garbage, used lids. It all becomes a treasure, and it all has to be stowed in the stroller. It has to be looked at, picked up, talked about, and stowed. Well, about halfway through the walk, Mary's little 2-year-old legs got very tired, and she wanted to be in the stroller. And the reason I knew she wanted to be in the stroller is she said very loudly, "Wait, wait, wait!" And I would put her in the stroller. And then 2 minutes later, I would hear, "Stop, stop, stop!" Now, did you get the timing of this little exercise? 2 minutes in the stroller, 2 minutes out of the stroller, 2 minutes in the stroller, 2 minutes out of the stroller. This lasted for the second half of our walk. Can you see how frustrating this would be to someone who is already suffering a little bit of emotional trauma and is trying to take a sustained walk? My daughter had a couple of obvious choices. One, she could stop walking with the children, or she could be frustrated and get angry at them during the whole walk. This is what we call a sucker's choice, where both choices seem bad. Whenever you're faced with two equally bad choices, it's a sucker's choice. Don't pick one of them. I'll be honest here, when I was raising my 7 children, I was frequently faced with these types of situations where it just seemed like one of the parties was going to have to suffer in order to resolve the problem. And at that time, I did not know any better or any different. I just thought, well, I got to pick one of these two things, and I would make my choice. I've since learned that there are better ways, and there's always a third alternative. Now, when I was first introduced to this idea of the sucker's choice, I just thought, I don't believe that. If there was a third alternative, I'd think of it, right? I wouldn't pick a bad thing just because I wanted something bad to happen. I just truly couldn't see the third choice, and so I want to talk about that. How do we use creative problem solving to find that third alternative? How can we avoid making the sucker's choice and come up with creative solutions to real and frustrating situations? First, always work on you first. You are likely to benefit by improving your own approach, and you are the only person you can really work on anyway. So start by looking at yourself, how you're feeling, what are your needs, what do you think some of the options would be? Can you change your perspective? Can you make some kind of adjustment that doesn't feel like you're having to give something up? Second, make sure your heart is in the right place and stay focused on the matter at hand. Don't get sucked into making up stories about the motives and feelings of the other people involved. 3, do not, under any circumstances, make the sucker's choice. Believe in your heart and know that there is at least a third alternative, and possibly more. 4, determine what it is that you really want to have happen. Ask yourself, what do I really want here? 5th, ask the question, what do I really want for the other person? In this situation, Jody could ask, what do I want for me? I want to feel better. I want to follow this wise counsel I've been given. But what do I want for my children? I don't want them to feel bad. I don't want them left out. I don't want to be yelling at them. 6, ask this important question. What do I really want for the relationship? As my daughter looked at her little children and at herself in this situation, she knew that she wanted to maintain good feelings between her and her children. 7, finally ask the very telling question, how would I behave if I really wanted these results? If I really want to be happy, if I really want my children to be involved in what I'm doing and to also be happy, if I really want to solidify the relationship, how would I behave? What would I do? And then 8, search for the elusive and. We have this choice and this choice and this choice. Present yourself with tougher questions which turn the either or choice into a search for the elusive and. Clarify what you want and clarify what you don't want. Present your brain with a more complex problem by asking the questions that I posed for you. When we present our brain with a demanding question, our body sends precious blood to the parts of our brain that help us think, and away from the parts of our body that make us want to fight. This is from the wonderful book Crucial Conversations by Gary Patterson. The sucker's choice presents our brain with problems that are easily solved with restricted blood flow. They don't require creative thought. The sucker's choice keeps us stuck in ineffective strategies. Now, back to the story. How did my daughter solve the situation she was facing? First, she looked at her motives. She did need and wanted to exercise so she could return to good health, and she did not want to be frustrated. She realized that she did not want to jeopardize the relationship that she has with her children by being angry with them for natural childish behaviors. She knew that if she really wanted health and to not be angry with her kids, then she would need to find a way to help them understand her need for a walk while still allowing them to be children. So she asked the pivotal questions posed above and set her brain to work to come up with at least a third alternative. She made a list. Get a babysitter. Trade exercise days with another mom who also wanted to exercise with a sustained walk. Walk when her husband got home and could watch the children. Get up before the children and walk. Now at that time her children were getting up at 5:30. None of these options appealed to her because they were not realistic for her family at that time for many reasons. She kept thinking, and here is what she finally came up with. Mom's walk and kids walk. She told her children all about the two. If it was a mom's walk, then everyone stayed in the stroller and mom would walk fast. If it was a kid's walk, then everyone would get in and out of the stroller and they would go slow. Pick up treasures, roll down ramps, walk on cement retaining walls, whatever came up. This is how it plays out at her home. Every morning is mom's walk. And if they walk in the afternoon, which they do at least twice a week, It's Kids Walk. Her children have been happy with the arrangement. She is not frustrated, and her health and outlook have improved. Relationships have been strengthened. They have experienced joy. As you work on recognizing when you're facing a sucker's choice and work at creative solutions to your parenting problems, don't expect perfection. Aim for progress. When you come up with a solution that succeeds, you need to celebrate that success, no matter how small it may seem to you. Take pleasure in knowing that you and your family are improving. I would love it if you would share the experiences you've had with creative problem solving with me. You can always send me an email at majcoach@gmail.com. I'm always interested in knowing how other parents are faring in their efforts. I want you to know that as a grandmother now, no children at home, just me and my spouse, that I am still faced on a regular basis with a sucker's choice in my relationship with my husband. And I also want you to know that since I have learned to recognize when I'm facing a sucker's choice, and when I have taken the time to follow the steps I've given you today, particularly step 1, which is to look at myself, I have been able to find a third alternative every single time. And my relationship with my spouse has been greatly enhanced, and I feel better about myself as a person. I know that if you will listen to this, take notes, and then really plant this seed deep in your heart, and believe me that there is always a third alternative, that it will improve your relationships too. Now, go out and practice. Know that every parent has everything they need to do the job well if they're just willing to practice. Have a good day.